My letter to God. I sent email to God@galactic.org. Dear God, I tried to reach you through dialaprayer.com, but got a 404 error. You must get a lot of spam. As you know, I don't ask for much. Well, there was that math test in the 8th grade. Here's my simple request. Do I have to phrase it in the form of a prayer? Can we get all the software suppliers on Earth, although some may not be from here, to not introduce anything for 1 year? That's right, not introduce anything for 1 year. No revisions, no upgrades, no changes. My vote is for the palindromic year of 2002, Y2K2. There's only one of these every century, like 1881, 1991, 2002, and 2112. So we have this window of opportunity. I would call it the year of computer peace, or Pax Computus. You see, God, I had to upgrade my Macintosh to OS 8.5 in order to run Adobe InDesign. Usually when it comes to operating systems, I wait a year until everybody stops complaining. But now I had no choice. As soon as I loaded 8.5, I discovered that I needed 8.51. I found it on the Apple website and downloaded it. Done. I like being able to get upgrades that fast. My old modem would take an hour to download the file, but getting it and using it are two different things. My new one took 5 minutes, but then when I loaded it, some of my control panel programs bombed the machine. I think bad breath bombs my machine. So I bought Norton Disk Doctor, but I think I really need Norton Disk Psychiatrist. Partitioning a disk can cause schizophrenic tendencies, I think. I also bought one of those crash protection programs, which I now believe protects the crash, not the system. Thus, it tells me when I'm going to crash instead of just crashing like it did before. If it gave me a week's notice, it would be better. Plus now, God, whenever I copy to or from a zip disk, the system hangs. So I'm zipless. So I went to version OS 8.6, and that fixed some things, but now other things go wrong, and OS 9 is now out. Upgrades and revisions are wearing me down. I just realized that the 10 Commandments are still at revision 1.0. Have you thought of a dummy's guide? How about revision 1.1 and you add a few more commandments about people who wear nose rings and anything on the Fox network? You know, you never took driving into consideration when you wrote those Big 10. I think commandment number 11 should be, thou shalt signal before changing thy lane. Forget about tickets. Let's go right to mortal sin. Okay, so everything was running fine with OS 8. I was happy, but then I was happy with OS 7 as well. Although I now remember the problems of going from 7.5 to 8. Eventually, I will have to go to revisions of Acrobat 4, Photoshop 5, Illustrator 8, and Quark Express 4, plus upgrades to ATM, Suitcase, printer drivers, and more. There's no end to it, and I'm getting too old for this. I had hair when the desktop revolution started. And God, did you have the same problem going from Adam to Eve? I mean, it was a model change, right? By the way, in an age of computers, would Moses come down from the mountain with 2 zip disks? He was the first to use voicemail, or was it Bushmail? Of course, it was followed by written confirmation. Today, would you beam the 10 Commandments into Moses' palm tablet? Now, I know there's a future Acrobat 5, Photoshop 6, Illustrator 9, Quark Express 5, and even an InDesign 2. But at some point, we have to take a rest. How many new features can I handle? Many programs look like the cockpit of a 777. And I'm not being petty, God. After 20 years of PC and Mac upgrades, I should be used to it. I remember going from the K-Pro to the XT in 1982, and from the original Mac to the Fat Mac in '86. I must have spent 20% of my life doing upgrades and revisions and trying to figure out why something that did work now no longer works. It has been maddening. I feel like I'm doing quality assurance for the software companies. They should pay me. That's when it finally hit me. Don't we all deserve 1 year of peace? Just 1 year. All programs, OSs, inits, extensions run without incident. From January 1, 2002 to December 31, 2002, every supplier shrink wraps their development group. By then, OS X will be introduced for the Mac. And I don't even want to hear about OS XI. Sounds like the Super Bowl. How about OS X.5? I can see that happening, a unique blend of Roman and Arabic numerals. There might even be an OS MCM XXI. And if you'll have to be 18 in order to upgrade to OS XXX. Windows 2000 is also on the horizon, and you may want to increase the availability of Prozac. I would even pay a little bit more for every program just for a vacation from the trials and tribulations of upgrades for just 12 months, 1 year. Please understand, God. I'm not a Luddite. I like technology. It has made me more productive. The computer has cut my work in half. That's why I bought 2 of them. Every time I upgrade or revise, there's some set of occurrences that require me to fix something. To fix it, I have to figure it out, what the problem is and what the solution is. All of a sudden, something that worked stops working. Why? Who knows? Oh, wait, you know. But you won't tell me. I have to track the problem down, and this takes time. And of course, it happens at the worst possible time. And you know all about time. You invented it. You know, if you did not create time, nothing would have ever been late. Amtrak would love you. I know you created the world in 6 days. But you know, you might have been able to do it faster if the documentation was ready. If you can get 1 year of peace out of the computer industry, God, you can certainly get the world to cool it for 1 year. We could have peace between the Indians and the Pakistanis, the Serbs and the Albanians, the Republicans and the Democrats, and even Hewlett-Packard and Xerox. We can take all the money that we spend on bullets and bombs and guns and lawsuits and save it up for a really good purpose. You know, all the upgrades and revisions that will be coming in 2003. Amen. Copiers and printers and presses, oh my. A machine that scans and prints is a fax. A machine that copies an original is a copier, but a machine that makes an original is a printer. Stay with me on this. A high-speed copier can also be a copier duplicator. A printer that sets type is a typesetter, but if it outputs type in images, it's an image setter. But a typesetter that sets typewriter print is not a printer, and a printer that sets type may still be a printer, but not an image setter. A high-speed printer is just a printer, although sometimes, if it is fast enough, it is a printer duplicator. There is no name for a device that prints, typesets, copies, and duplicates. A machine that scans and copies and prints and faxes is a multifunction machine. It also slices and dices and doubles as a salad shooter. The real name for something that does everything is Mom. Okay, you send a fax. The recipient makes a note on it and faxes it back to you. This is a copy of a fax. You then make a note on it and refax it. This is a copy of a fax. The recipient copies the sheet on a copier, which makes it a copy of a copy of a copy of a fax. What do you call any level of copying beyond this? Unreadable. So we wind up with copiers, printers, and presses. The essential difference between a copier and a printer. All right, now stand back. I do an impression of a copying machine. Not many people do this, by the way. So, you walk up to the copy, you open up the cover, you put your original face down, you close the cover, you hit the button. An ominous green light now comes up, it shines against the glass to the original, reflects it down through a lens focused onto a photoconductive drum. It converts light energy into electrical energy, which picks up toner, which is oppositely charged. At the same time, a piece of paper is charged opposite to the toner. It's moving at the same speed as the rotation of the photoconductor. The toner is attracted to the paper. It goes through a set of rollers that heats it to 400 degrees and fuses it onto the paper. It goes through another set of rollers that crumples it up. It comes out the other end, and we call that a copy. This is not a trick question. Now, a printer. You take away the cover, you take away the original, you take away the glass, you take away the big light, you take away the lens, you take a laser, you point it at the photoconductive drum, light energy into electrical energy, pick up the toner, put it onto the paper through the rollers, it comes out the other end, and we call that a print. Get out of here, print. You say, people, bring me my prints. Someday my prints will come. You call it a copy. You don't distinguish between a copy made on a copier and a copy made on a printer. You don't see them as being different. And yet they are significantly different. Most copiers today are scanners at the top and printers at the bottom. Think of it as a digital digestive tract. Over time, the copier becomes a printer on a network that has a scanner. See, at home, I don't have a copier. I have a scanner, a computer, and a printer. When I want to copy something, I put it on the scanner. I hit a little program that says copy. It scans it, processes it, and prints it out. I get a copy at that point. Fewer and fewer things require a copy. Most of what I do today comes off the printer. And in fact, I've changed all the rules, if you think about it. In the old days, I would make one original off the printer, and I'd go to a copier and make a number of copies. Go to a meeting, some people got a copy, and some people got an original. Today, I just tell it to output the number I need from the printer. So what have I done? I've made my printer into a de facto copier. So we really come down to really two kinds of devices, because copiers and printers are really almost the same thing. Copiers will just be printers that are on a network with a scanner. That's it. So we have copiers going away, and we now have printers and presses. What's the difference between a printer and a press? Presses have an image carrier that is fixed and does not change for every copy. If it does, you did something wrong. Printers have an image carrier that is dynamic and changes for every copy. Both take data, both make image carriers. The printer is dynamic in that it must generate a new one every time. The press has to make one that is fixed, and it generates the same image over and over again. Thus, you can do two things on a printer that you cannot do on a press. One, personalized direct marketing, and two, one book at a time. You can also get short runs and quick turnaround. So I have here props. Just to kind of go over some of the things that are being done out there that I think are of interest. A child is born. How do you know that? Well, it's public information. Usually there's a birth announcement somewhere. A child is born. Okay? There's a picture of a child. Now, that information can go into a database. Someone could use that information in a variety of ways. They could mail you, for instance, every year on the child's birthday and say, come in for a free photograph. Oh, free photograph. So over the course of the lifetime of that child, you could accumulate an entire library of all their pictures. Oh, that's very interesting. So therefore, somewhere around their high school graduation or college graduation, you then sell to the grandparents a little portfolio of every picture in the child's life. This was done by one of my students in digital printing. They have to print out something on every one of our digital machines, and this is Christopher Lee, and these are all the pictures of his life. Now, he's young, so I imagine we'll need a longer piece of paper as he gets older. But now, let's take this information and do something else with it. This is a mailing piece from a supermarket chain in Rochester, and it's called Wegmans, by the way, a great supermarket. And when you now go into a supermarket, many of you use a credit card with that chain, or you use one of those cards that gets you a discount. As a result, when you go through the checkout counter, what do they know about you? They know everything about you. So this is a newsletter they send to selected people, and in it there are coupons. And these coupons are unique to that family, to that household. For instance, tell me about this family. A $1.50 rebate on Huggies diapers. They have a baby. Well, wait a minute. A $1 rebate on L'Oreal kids shampoo. They have another child. So you can actually start to change their buying habits. You could make it so these coupons only work on certain days, so they come into the store on different days than when the store may be crowded. So you have a way of controlling their buying patterns in various ways. Why? Because you know all this. All right? A little more time goes by, and now you send them this newsletter. That's for me, I'm not in. This is this is financial planner. There's a picture of the salesperson, by the way. This is Kevin Hartman. It has his name on here. As a result of people's pictures now going into newsletters, brochures, and onto business cards, my feeling is that they're not going to hire ugly people anymore. I would probably never be able to get a job at this stage. Either that or Photoshop enhancement is going to be a major area of plastic surgery. But tell me about this family. It says money advice for young families. And the picture is a young family in a boat. They all have their hands in the water, by the way. I saw that movie this summer, Deep Blue Sea. Don't put your hands in the water. Then it has in here, saving for college. So this is personalized to this family. Now, it's somewhat subliminal. It's addressed to this family, has their name on it, but it has information in here that appeals to something about them. You know something about them, and you're using that information in some way. A little time goes by, and now you send them their computerized portfolio. You now have bar charts. You indicate how they're doing in terms of their investments, how the money is accumulating. A personalized relationship starts to evolve. Time goes by, the family, mother and father, have credit cards. This is my rewards notice from American Express, and it's pre-printed on a press, and then they personalize it in various ways on a digital printer. They bind in a generic unit here, but they're missing a bet. Here's why they're missing a bet. In May, for the first time in 31 years, my American Express card got compromised. And within a week, they knew about it, called me up, canceled the card, sent me a new card. And they said they knew about it because there was a change in my pattern. Now, you have to understand that I've never seen a pattern to anything I do. I don't go on airplanes, so I travel on Amtrak. I make decisions at the last minute, so I rent cars. I buy things over the internet in the middle of the night. I will change hotels on a whim. I don't know what that pattern is, by the way, but they saw a pattern there. Well, they were missing an opportunity. If they know that, if they took all these points that I have available for my American Express cards, why didn't they make it so that I could take those points and translate them or convert them into things that really matter to me? For instance, at the points I had in this newsletter, one of the things I could get was a free economy class ticket to Hong Kong on Cathay Pacific Airways. Nope, this is not going to work for me. Amtrak doesn't go there. So why not print things in here based on what you know about me that I could convert these points into? So somewhere along the line, they're going to figure that out as well. Direct mail comes down, personalized direct mail, comes down to the junk you used to see, like the judging is now complete. Frank J. Romano has won $1.6 million. Wait. They now have proof that I've won $1.6 million. Now, by the way, I gave up the opportunity to win $1.6 million because I was a guaranteed winner, and I wanted to bring this to you. My wife won $25,000. The judging is complete. She won $25,000. Now, she reminds me, women, $25,000, men, $1.6 million. I didn't do that. So the object is to get you to open this stuff, right? So they play all kinds of tricks in order to do this. This is one from Reader's Digest. And, whoops, I'll get it right. It says here, mail tampering is against the law because there's a band of organized crime traveling around the United States stealing junk mail. Or they make it look like it's one of these things that you have to sign for. They made the font somebody's handwriting. It says here it's personal and confidential. How do you know this is junk mail? Bulk rate, right? All right. Oh, I love this one. They give you a little file folder to store your final prize documents. I think this is cute. All right. There's one, however, that I opened. And I thought I would just share with you why I opened this. It came in an envelope, and it has a badly printed, quasi-government-looking federal seal. And it's badly printed. And I said to myself, U.S. government, low bidder, badly printed, yeah. It's in an envelope that has the security feature, so you think, check. Then, it doesn't have a printed indicia. It went through a postage machine. I opened it. I didn't see on the postal indicia the little words bulk rate. So they got me to open it. So you can do some really interesting stuff with personalized catalogs, where the information in this catalog is personalized to you based on things that you're interested in, that you've indicated you want to learn about. You can take and get their attention. This is the one that Agfa did, which I think is a classic. They made a font out of the alphabet's cereal. And so your name is in the milk. There's Frank up there. By the way, there's a whole batch of them here of different names, so you know that I'm not making this up. So you can do some, in fact, one of the others that I found, they made a font that makes it look like the dog bone biscuit has your name imprinted in it. Three-dimensional font, not a bad idea when you get right down to it. The Brex catalog, I mean, you all get catalogs. This year, I think we're up to about, I've saved every catalog that's come into the house. I think we're at 400 right now. This one is personalized on the back. So the Romano garden. Well, if you do gardening, this is something that would be interesting to you. Actually, I've been trying to get these people to do roses in Pantone colors. They haven't expressed any interest in that. The other interesting thing is the Barney Book. This is done off of a digital press, an Agfa Chroma press. Could be done on any of the digital machines, by the way. It's a generic cover with a die cut in it. And you send in a picture of the kid, and they silhouette it automatically. They build it into the document. And there's the kid, and there's Barney on every spread. And the kid's name is built in. It says here, one sunny day, Kevin met Barney carrying something very unusual. What are you carrying? Asked Kevin. It's Frank Romano's encyclopedia, said Barney. No, forget about that.